This is Mikhail Kevorkin with your news update. Today, we're talking about military powers, USA edition. So let me hit you with some basic information. When was it founded? It was founded on June 14th, 1775. It was 1 year prior to the Declaration of Independence, and it was for the sole reason of protecting and fighting for the original 13 colonies. Now for the ranking, my coworker, also me. Thank you so much. Let me hit you with some information about the structure. Okay, so there's 13 enlisted ranks, there's 5 warrant officer ranks, and there's 11 officer ranks. The highest rank is the general of the army. As you increase in rank, very obviously, so does the amount of people under your control and the responsibilities you face. The commander-in-chief in the United States is the president. Long history of presidents in the United States having military experience, which plays into this. They do not, however, hold the power to declare war that is in Congress. The head of the military, there's not quite a clear head. You could say the president because, they're the commander-in-chief. You could also say the chief of staff of the army, secretary of defense. There's not quite a clear head. Definitely a lot of top officials, though. Back to me. Really great stuff, really great stuff. Now, moving on to me, who's going to tell you about the requirements of joining the military. Great stuff, really great stuff. The minimum age to join the military is 17 with parental consent and 18 without it. The maximum that you can be to enlist is 35. Voluntary or compulsory join. In the past, there have been drafts, the most recent one with the Vietnam War, but currently the military is 100% volunteer-based. Who's allowed for combat in the military? So in the past, once again, it was only white men. During the Civil War, this broadened a bit with African Americans who also participated fighting with the Union. And nowadays, you can join regardless of race or sex. Inclusive, not a word you hear often with American society. Now, moving back to me to finish about telling you about the structure of the United States. Right, great stuff. So, how many branches are in the military? There's 6. You got the Army, you got the Marines, you have the Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and how could we forget? Space Force. So let me tell you about the active soldiers we have in the U.S. We have 1.4 million soldiers in the U.S. We have 488,000 in the Army. That's the biggest one. 350,000 in the Navy, 335,000 in the National Guard, 330,000 in the Air Force, and 40,000 in the Coast Guard. Now, what about the reserves? Quite a bit of reserves as well. 270,000 in the Army, once again the largest. 100,000 in the Navy, 99,000 in the Marine Corps, 95,000 in the Air Force, and 8,000 in the Coast Guard reserves. How many are deployed at the moment? As of 2020, 173,000 soldiers were deployed in 159 countries. Some special forces include, with the Army, you have the Green Beret, Night Stalkers, Rangers. With the Navy, you have obviously the Navy SEALs and the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crew, also known as the SWCC. With the Marines, you have Recon and MARSOC, and with the Air Force, you have Special Tactics. Now heading back to me. Right, amazing. Now, for my closing statements. The U.S. military is a pretty big, important part of the U.S. The budget for 2020 was $766.58 billion, and that was a 3.7412% of our GDP, which is quite a big percentage of our GDP going into just one thing. Allies of the U.S. could hit you with a juicy list. Not gonna. Basically, any first world country, almost any country in the world, we have some alliance with. Imperialism, economic trade, everywhere. Major wars and conflicts, I'm gonna hit you with a juicy list this time though. At the American Revolution, starting things off, only dubs around here. War of 1812, never mind. We got the Indian Wars, Mexican and American War, Civil War, Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II, of course. You have the Korean War, Vietnam War, Desert Shield, or Storm, preference. And then the Global War on Terror, could forget. The main weapons that are used in these wars Obviously, depends on the time period, really. Like if you're going back to 1776, you don't got the tanks. I mean, you just got muskets, classy stuff like that. Whatever the best technology at the time was often what was used. So World War II, some tanks, aircraft. Obviously, the only people who have used nukes in combat at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nowadays, assault rifles, like stealth tech, stuff like that. That's basically it. And the news report. Bam.